folks, RedX is here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Generations Autobot Springer, Voyager class figure, might I add. He's associated with the upcoming 30th anniversary of Transformers. Gosh, 30 years. Who would have thought we would get this far? And I really didn't get in love with Transformers until Robots in Disguise came out. And even that's a long story, and I'm not going to go into detail about it, but we'll get to it when we get to it eventually. We'll get back to more real Transformers Robots in Disguise car robot figure reviews. Why not? I got nothing else better to do. So anyway, here it is, the package of Springer. Very nice. Autobot Springer, might I add. I guess they can't just call him Springer. It must be some kind of copyright thing. And yet Hasbro's getting all the names back. I mean, they got Jazz back and... you know, actually, that's the only one I know. Very lovely box artwork. Look at that. Very cool. Looks very good. That's all I can say. That's all I can really say. It looks good. I know this is from the IDW comics, but I have not read them. I have no plans on reading them, so I really don't know much about Springer beyond what's on the back of his package, which there's a little bit of a bio here. Very brief, very short. If you'd like to read it, go ahead and pause the viewer now. If you want to grade him, there you go. It's a good thing that you can actually see these, unlike the, you know, the original Generation 1 figures where you had to have that, like, little transparent bit of plastic that was red, and then you would be able to see the lines going through on the tech specs. But I digress. Whatever. Nothing here on this side, so that's it for the package. Get it out of the way, and let's bring in the man himself, Springer. So, here's Springer in his helicopter mode, and I gotta say, I'm not really digging this. No offense. I mean, there are some things that I just cannot overlook on this helicopter mode. I don't get me wrong. I like it, but I don't like it in a certain way. I just think there are some things about it that are just very unproportionate. Sorry, there's a gnat in my room. Think I got the bugger. There he goes. Anyway, back to the review. There are some things about this helicopter mode that really just does not stand out for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a nice attempt, and I can understand how hard it is to execute a triple changer from a car mode to a helicopter mode or to a plane mode and back into a robot mode or so on and so forth. I mean, it's very tricky. The engineering that goes into these figures, I have at least got to give props to Hasbro or whoever was in charge of the design of this figure. Maybe it's because the wings are just a little too small. Because all this armor bit here, all this that's just in the way. I mean, it's not much of a wing when you think about it. It's just this right here. You're supposed to get the illusion that, I mean, all this armor is like supposed to be covering the top and the bottom of it, but that's really it. I mean, see, when you unplug this right here, which is kind of tight, bear with me for a second, that's it. That's it of the wing. It's supposed to make a complete look to it, but I just don't see it. And that's not my only problem with this. Also, the fact that this right here does not peg in. Now, I know what it is, and I have not done anything to try and fix this problem, but these tabs right here, where they're supposed to peg into these slots right here, do not fit. They are just too big. They will not fit inside the holes. As you can see, they are just standing out. I do like the fact that this actually spins freely. That is awesome. There's not really much that I can say anymore about the helicopter mode, except that his guns are actually removable. And yeah, that's one thing that I do not like about this mode. I mean, they're easy to apply. I mean, there's just a little bit of an issue right here. You really gotta get in between here. You gotta contort this thing in order to get it on. But once you do get it on, which I'm having some trouble right now, camera fright. Some prototype images that have come up not too long ago on some Transformer websites that are showing the Takara release are showing his helicopter mode, or, you know, they're showing the cannons attached to his helicopter mode about right here. Now, whether or not that's a retool or something like that, I mean, I've heard rumors, but I really doubt it. I think it's just somebody's being lazy when they're taking the photos and they're just putting it back here, because as you can see, there's not really much of a difference between that and the photos. It's just hanging there. That's all it is. I mean, it's not even attached. The only way that it can attach is in between this groove right here. And it is a pain in my bottom to try and do this on camera. So I'm just going to leave it at that. There's some spring launching projectiles. Just push this up. And they do fire one at a time, but if you push them quickly, you can actually get both missiles to fire at the same time. But yeah, they don't go so far. I'm not seeing any real force on this thing. There's no springs in it whatsoever. It's just like one of those little fling missiles that some of those Lego figures come with. But anyway, that's enough about that. Yeah, he's got a little bit more of a landing gear. If you don't have the cannons attached, that's cool. Just put down the landing gear. And it's a little hard to get it out, but whatever. That's enough about that. Let's go ahead and take him into his next mode, which is none other than his car mode. And just to save myself a little time and the trouble of camera fright, I'm just going to go ahead and do it off of camera. So we'll be right back. Okay, and here is car mode for Springer. And I gotta say that this is probably my second favorite. That being the third one would obviously be the helicopter mode, and the first one would have to be the robot mode. Obviously. Let's take a quick look at the size comparisons that I've got in store today. For Springer in his car mode, there's Battle Blade Bumblebee from the Hunt for the Decepticons Revenge of the Fallen toy line. Yeah. Now that I've got that out of the way, what else is there to say about this car mode? I dig it. Like I said, I understand the execution on this figure. It's pretty good. He actually rolls pretty well. Not much of a resistance, except he does have a little bit of an issue at the bottom. So these flaps right here, which are going to become his armor bits for his robot mode on the knees, kind of gets in the way a little bit. Not much. Not to the point where it's dragging along the floor, but I mean, solid ground would work great. As you can see, not a problem whatsoever. But if you were to roll this on carpet, you probably get a little bit of a restriction because of these bits. But that's enough of that. As you can see, his blaster can actually attach right here, and it is a tight bugger to get off. And just look at his car mode, because it's pretty good. Mine suffers, obviously. As you can see, there's cracks on the top of the hood. Not to the point where it's breaking or anything, but obviously the transformation is either incomplete, or it just does not peg in, period. This side will stay pegged in so long as I don't mess around with it, but this side, on the other hand, will not. And it really does bug me quite a bit, and I'm tired of it. But other than that, I mean, this is a really nice car mode. Very ingenious. Whether or not this actually looks like the one from the IDW comics, I have no idea. It would have been nice if he had some paint back here for the tail lights. That way, it would just bring some more life to this vehicle mode. Very nice. It's got a pretty good amount of paint. Not much, but a lot more than what we're usually getting with Transformer figures today. Like, for instance, Transformers Prime Bumblebee. Oh, let's not bring that one back up. Very nice Autobots insignia right there. If my camera will focus in on it just a little bit. Come on. There we go. Very nice. Very cool. And that's really it. He does have storage for his sword mode for the helicopter propellers. I cannot speak today. Anyway, I have some trouble getting these to actually stay attached. I understand how they're supposed to stay attached. They go under here and they're supposed to peg in like so, right here. But as you can see, it's just loose and it's ready to come out anyhow, so I'm just going to leave it out. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. There's a little bit of robot kibble, or should I say a lot of robot kibble underneath, and there's not that much more to talk about this mode, but I do like it. It's better than the helicopter mode because this one it looks good. It looks like an actual car. Anyway, let's go ahead and get him into his robot mode. Whoop. Wow. Just wow. There cannot be a single person on YouTube, not one single person, that has reviewed this figure and has disliked his robot mode. How can you dislike this? The proportions are perfect. Absolutely perfect to this class. I mean, just look at this. I mean, this is perfect. You cannot argue with the results. I can't argue with the results. And I've got a lot that I could say about many Voyager class Transformer figures. But for a Voyager class figure, the arms are perfect. The legs are perfect. The upper body, the lower body, everything about this figure just shouts perfect. Even the head sculpt is perfect. I'm not so sure if you're going to see this, but I mean, that just, wow. I mean, you don't get any closer to Springer than this. I mean, this has got to be the best head sculpt I've ever seen to look as very close as Generation 1 as it can get when it comes to Springer. And that light piping, oh my god, just look at that one more time. Look at that light piping just shining through. I'm not doing anything. I can block him for, you know, like so, but I mean, look at the light just shine through those eyes. That is what you call some great light piping. I am digging this mode. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not been impressed with Transformer figures in quite a long time. I fell apart when it came to, you know, Prime before the Beast Hunters line started to come out. I couldn't take it anymore. Transformers was just falling apart. It was slipping out of my collection. But this is where it kicks back in. I mean, they are off to a good start when it comes to the Generations line for the 30th anniversary. This is where my Transformer collection resumes. These are just worth it. They really are. I know there's some pros and some really big cons when it comes to other figures like Blitzwing. We'll get to him when we get to him. But I mean, really with Springer, besides the helicopter mode, this is great. And look at this. Look at the kibble on the back. Just this little bit right here. This flap just flips right up and it just takes care of that. I mean, look at that. There's no backpack kibble whatsoever. This is perfect. It's just perfect. It does not get any better than this. There is no way that Hasbro can make this any closer to the IDW counterpart. I mean, this just, it's great. I mean, really, who can argue with the paintwork on here? This is more than what we've been receiving in the past. Look at this. They even bothered to paint over here, paint here, even paint in between these little areas some silver. It's bound to have some issues, but I'm not complaining about it. The head sculpt's got some paintwork as well. I'm very surprised they painted these yellow right here. This is great. This is really great. And from the actual color form that they've chosen for the Takara release, I gotta say, this is the one to get. The paintwork is just phenomenal. The Takara one, while it is that metallic paint that everybody seems to love, it's something about the color chosen for Springer. I really cannot approve of it. It just does not look right. It looks ugh. But, you know, that's for you guys to decide whether or not it's worth picking up. I'm not. I'm good with this figure. And yes, his weapons obviously can actually connect to his hands. And yeah, he can hold his blaster, or better yet, he can hold his big freaking sword. Look at that. That is awesome. I mean, he is armed to the teeth. He really is. He doesn't need cannons coming out of his arms or his knees or anything like that. I mean, Springer, all he needs is his sword and his freaking BFG, and he's good to go. He's ready to take on Blitzwing any day. And speaking of Blitzwing, yes, I do have him for a quick size comparisons. So let's bring out Blitzwing like so. And as you can see, this is great. Great size comparisons. I mean, we have not had Voyager figures from Transformers this big in a long time. I feel like Hasbro is taking a step further into improving their line. It's just getting better. I am very glad that Hasbro is really looking into all these issues they've had in the past and all the complaints that have been coming from all the consumers. They're finally listening. They're bringing back what we love about Voyager class Transformer figures. Big, bulky, very well proportional figures that have some great transformations. Triple changers, in fact. I mean, wow. The results are just showing. This is awesome. These two, wow. This is a great start for a recollection of Transformer figures. I mean, this is just great. I cannot argue with these results. I just can't. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I'll say it again. I cannot argue with these results. So, for articulation, he's got a ball-jointed head, as you would come to expect nowadays with Transformer figures. He's got ball-jointed shoulders, as you can see. Very nice. They rotate around full 360. Bicep swivel. Ratcheting joint, very tight. Very nice, as you can hear that click. Oh, what is it that we love about those? Let's see, wrist rotation, it's also present. Folds in and out due to transformation. Most of this is due to transformation, but then again, I mean, it is part of the articulation. He actually does have some swivel at the waist, which is nice. Or no, actually, no, they're not ball joints. They act like it, but they're not. And they're not even ratcheting. They're just those kind of joints where they don't ratchet. Yeah, anyway, as you can see, it does everything. Swivel, nice. You can never go wrong with that. 90-degree bend at the knee, single jointed, but oh god. I feel like I'm having a joint orgasm or something. I don't know. Very clickety. I love it. So, last but not least, all I can say is the feet, well, they just pivot up and down, unfortunately. So, I guess Vangelis wouldn't approve of this figure. The back heel to his foot on the right is very, very loose. As you can see, the pin does not hold it whatsoever. And there's no tightening it whatsoever. As I said, it's a pin. So, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Maybe I can dab a little super glue in between here, but I don't think that will do me any justice. But other than that, no complaints about this figure's mode. This robot mode is perfect. Helicopter mode could have been better. There could have been some other ways they could have executed that mode, but you know what? For what they've done, it's good. Car mode, you either like it or you hate it, and I like it, but it could use some makeover here and there. But other than that, it's really the robot mode, which is the hot seller on this figure, as everybody's been saying in their reviews. Now, I'm sorry I dragged this out so long, but I really had to get a lot out on this figure because he is well worth it. If you haven't guessed by now, yes, he's well worth it. If you can find him in stores, pick him up. That's it. That's all I gotta say about it. He is well worth the pickup. So, until next review, which will be none other than Blitzwing, that's it for now. So until then, that's me, RedX, signing out, and I will see you guys next time. So take care.